Hi, welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate. I'm your host, Charlie Flannery. I have two very special guests today, Mr. Billy V. Vigeant and Mr. Bobby Kenney.
Hey, Charlie.
A couple of actor friends of mine, and I've known them for a couple of years now. And you guys have been doing it for a while. And tell me how you met. What have you been up to? How you met?
Well, it all began my acting career about almost going to be 5 years coming this fall. And it was something I always wanted to try to do, and I decided to do. Had my headshots done, enrolled in a couple of schools, then got listed with some casting agencies, and we were on the run from that point on. And fortunately enough, we've been on a hell of a run. And one of the first guys I met, and you talk about getting into film itself, I've been very fortunate because I not only have done major motion picture, I've also done network television on ABC. I was on Body of Proof. And then we worked on this independent project called Irish Whisper, which was a lot of fun. I play a character by the name of Big V, which I'm the heavy as far as I'm the guy that usually runs the streets and takes care of anybody that gets out of line, so to speak. And on the set and through rehearsals, I happen to meet my partner, I can say, in crime now, as far as Bobby Kenney, which played my boss in Irish Whisper, which was a lot of fun. He plays Jackie.
Was it tough working for him?
Yeah, demanding, but we had to get the job done. He knew the bottom line of it all. And,
a lot of benefits, you know.
Exactly, and at the same time, you know, what's great, you know, you meet a lot of people in this business. And throughout the years, we've been very fortunate to where, as far as Bobby and I have worked together in other projects. And not only have we developed a professional relationship, you know, when you hit somebody off as far as when you're talking about when you first meet them, you know, there's the first introduction and then the awkwardness of getting to know somebody. But we hit it off from square one. So it was like I knew Bobby forever. And that really helped a lot because as far as when you're acting itself, it's like, you know, a good football team gets to play well because they know what the other guy next to him is going to do on that certain play. So it's the same way as far as that Bobby and I have now grown as far as actors. We can play across from each other as well as with each other, and we complement each other's actions. So it's been a real joy in it as well as a real treat in my acting career. So
You know, I met Bobby on the set of R.I.P.D.,
Right.
and that was over a year and a half ago. So that's the length of time we've known each other, but we speak on the phone 3 or 4 times a week. I've come to know Bobby as a real straight shooter, and we've become very close. I mean, very close friends. I mean, not in the biblical sense, but I mean, good friends. He's a stand-up guy. Tell me about yourself, Bobby. The parts you can talk about.
Okay. Well, I started out about 5 years ago. I just got lucky and I got a little role on The Fighter. And I got the bug, you know. So I enrolled in some acting classes, one after another. That's how I made contacts, you know, got in a little movie. And then I was lucky enough to meet Billy on Irish Whisper. We started working together, and I saw, you know, I realized when you're working with someone that, you know, thinks like you, how much better it can be, how much better you can be, you know, and what they bring out of you. So I said to Billy, I said, any projects you get, you know, you need someone, call me, man, you know, I'm there, you know, and we do the same for each other. And he started this series called Fedoras out in Connecticut. And he called me up. He says, Bobby, I got something I think would fit you, you know. I said, what's that? He said, a fedora.
So what this is like a web series you're working on now, right?
Billy could tell you more about what it is.
I mean, the whole entertainment industry is changing.
it's changing rapidly. You know?
I mean, you've got kids with cell phones. They can take movies of themselves and post them on YouTube, and all these new channels that are coming on. They got to have content. They got to have something to show.
Well, it's good and it's bad in a sense because as you remember years ago when you were in the film business or as far as you were a fan of film, you know, a movie would be out there for 6 months to a year, and then from there itself, you'd get a chance to maybe it would go to like a VHS and you could watch it. Today, everything's immediate. And they realizing the fact of how fast it's changing. And as you know, the prices to go to a theater today is not cheap. Your average film is $12, $13, I think, now, as far as to go for an admission. So if you take two people, by the time you put gas in your car, popcorn, candy, you're into the night for over $50, $60.
Yeah, that's because they got to pay you guys your $10 million a pop. You know what I mean? If you guys would work for $5 million, I could get popcorn for $2.
Well, you laugh. That may be happening because as far as what's going on now, there's a whole revolution taking place in the film industry where now what's happening is with the introduction of the internet and the web, people now can, as far as work on projects and be seen by the number of people that you could not believe. Like, give an example, which we'll talk about in a second. Fedoras happens to be one project that is dear and near to my heart, that we have over 20,000 views of people that actually watched the actual trailer we just put out.
Just the trailer.
Just
not,
the trailer.
Not even the first episode.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what happens, you start to develop a following. But they were smart enough to realize what's happening is the days of going home and having dinner and watching TV at the same time and then doing your homework are gone. The family structure is on the run. Husband, wife both have to go to work. Kids, as far as are left home with one parent, maybe no parents. So they realize that's not happening anymore. So now they realize that people all have cell phones. So now what's happening is, with the cell phones, everybody has access to the internet. So now there's a new introduction, just like there's a TV series still on television, but TV used to be 3 channels, Charlie, when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
It's now 1,600 channels. But now with the internet and then the phone structure, they're putting television series on the web. So now you can watch it, whatever your schedule may be.
Yep.
So now it's more immediate. It's whenever you want to watch it. And this is how Fedoras was just born. But in fact, it's based on a 1920s, 1930s crime series called Fedoras. And I happen to play the character of Nino Ponticello, which is, as far as one of the crime bosses, he's supposed to be the crime boss of all bosses. And then as far as we built from there a variety of different characters, which fortunately my dear friend, as well as my compadre, so to speak, Bobby Kenney plays one of the crime bosses, Angelo Colombo. And we're right now in the pursuit, as far as building this off of a pursuit of one of the Irish mobs, as far as Patrick McKinney, played by Jimmy Mancini, which seems to be a thorn in our back all the time. So we have a variety of different topics we talk about and deal with, no matter if it's some bootlegging, to prostitution, to the rackets, to gambling. It's a real exciting project because it gives me a chance to do something I love, but at the same time, it gives me a chance to go back in an era before, as far as this whole state of, modern day times.
And I just want to give a little disclosure to the kids. We're not opposed to bootlegging, but we're not advocating prostitution. That's our disclaimer. You know what I mean?
If you do it,
they do it in the show, but that's strictly.
but you got to make sure I get my piece.
Yeah. So, anyway,
You can buy moonshine now in the package store.
Speaking of peace, you brought a little clip with you today, and I think we'd like to run it if we could, if Zach's ready. We'd like to run a little piece of Fedoras, and it's only about 44 seconds. Take a look.
Rocky Point, Long Island,
What's on your mind, Nino?
Fucking McKinney.
and David Sarnoff visit the birthplace.
He's a loose cannon.
Come here.
I'll
tell you something. Today it's me. Tomorrow it's you.
Sure.
That fucking Irish half-breed.
I'm telling you, if it was up to me, I'd take him and his whole clan out.
I'll take care of McKinney.
Wow. I really enjoyed that. I really dug that. You guys should be proud. And I
Yeah.
realize that's something, that's not even the trailer. That was just some rough footage.
That's a little interaction between Bobby and myself, as well as, between two bosses sitting down, which we collaborate together. Because we're both on the same page, so to speak. He's a made man, I'm a made guy. Patrick McKinney, he's not a made guy. He's a wannabe made guy. And
But he's Irish. He can't be a made guy.
of course not.
Doesn't he know?
But in
I
his
mean,
head,
for
he
God's
tries
sakes,
to be, you know, listen.
You can't do it.
You know what I tell Charlie? Tell people, Charlie, it's always great to want. You can always want what you want, but
How
doesn't
does
mean
it
you're going to
feel
get
to
it.
want? How does it feel to want?
So, you know, that's the best part about this series. And we have John K. Fiore, which is as far as we took on as a writer, which is a great accomplished writer. He's got a film out that's just went to DVD internationally, Twist of Fate.
John is a good, talented writer.
Yeah.
Most definitely. And,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
we've put this puzzle together now as far as Bobby and I are both SAG actors. It's a SAG project, which solidifies it for the quality of actors that are involved in this project. And that's why we're building this one piece at a time. Because we're very serious about our careers. Like myself this year, I'll have in 11 projects by the end of the year. I just finished a short film called Killing Khan, which as far as we've just got done with. Army of the Damned, which is it's going to be real exciting, starring Tony Todd and Michael Berryman. That distribution is going to 100 million homes. On top of it, 15 theaters, DVD, Redbox, Bluetooth. So my point is this, is that you got to be very, very careful as you're putting this project together because you want the quality of work to complement of where we're going. So
Is that why you never return my phone calls whenever I ask if there's any
No, he just
spots
doesn't like
available?
you.
Hey Billy, it's Charlie. Listen, let me know if there's any spots
Charlie,
available.
you.
The phone never rings. I
He's a
know
busy
it's you.
man. He's
no, Charlie, you know what it is? Like fine wine. No fine wine before it's time.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for you to mature.
Stop my whining. Stop my whining.
And stop whining, because I got some cheese for you.
It's still in the barrel.
Hey, speaking of cheese, what's this here?
Listen, I brought this today so you can get a little feel, because a lot of people in the show, I'm pretty defined, mostly outside, a lot of characters, and the name is Fedoras, and we all wear fedoras of different types. I wear a white fedora with a white cape. So it's with a walking stick, and as well as always with a suit and tie most of the time. But when I put this hat on, it gives me the power. It's like an empowerment, like Superman with his cape. So I thought it'd be a great thing, as far as since we're here doing the show, to give you a little feel what it's like to be as far as Nino Panicello, but also to be part of Fedoras. So you can stick that on your head. Yeah? No, be careful. Don't start whacking people.
See, now you look
Hold on,
dangerous.
give me a Charlie. I gotta pull. Here you go, buddy.
Let me see that.
Look at that.
Look what they've done to my boy.
I'm terrified right now.
I feel the
Oh,
power
sorry.
already. It's like it's traveling down my body into my toes. I want to kill someone.
That's all right. Make
You
a
know?
list. Don't worry. We have a lot of time.
I got a couple of names right here.
That's good.
Right at the side. This is nice. Do I get to keep this? I don't know. On me, it makes.
Listen, it's like Cinderella and the glass slipper. Unfortunately, she has to give it back at the end of her show.
I think.
That's going to go in the museum, the mob museum when we're done.
Yeah. Now you guys are. I heard something about they're doing a mob museum in Vegas.
They have a mob museum.
They have
Okay.
a mob museum.
Okay.
And we're supposed to be out there in September. Being the fact that you talk about being unique and being different, the series Fedoras is being immortalized as the first ever web mob series.
So you guys are pioneers.
We're pioneers
In
at
that
the same
genre,
time.
in that genre.
And as I was saying earlier, where film is going now, it's not just as far as in the theaters anymore. With the revolutionizing of the where it can be seen between your phone, your iPad, your computer, the web series is a total new concept. And being that fact, us being the first crime mob series that's out there on the web, we're very proud of, as well as excited about, because we have a chance for Don Nino Panicello's cape, as well as others' actual outfits in wardrobe to be on display. We'll be out there maybe signing some autographs for the fans.
Nice.
At the Mob Museum, which is kind of funny. So I'll be hanging with guys like Al Capone, as far as Meyer Lansky, John Gotti.
I thought they were dead.
They are
amazing.
dead. That's the best part. We're alive.
Oh, good. Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah,
Who knows? We may take a few
you
dead
got a
people to
leg
put
up.
with us.
You got a leg up on those guys.
They're
you know?
still alive in our head. You know?
Well, that's quite an honor. That's quite an honor. Now, where is? I've been up to Vegas quite a few times. Where is the Mob Museum?
It's in Old Vegas. It's not in the newer part of Vegas.
Okay.
It's in Old Vegas. It has its own freestanding building, but it's filled with all kinds of documentation, from Herbert Hoover, which was big against the mob, all the way down to the early guys coming in, guys like Lucky Luciano, give some biography, pictures,
You know,
artifacts.
I'll tell you, Hoover was bad in his pursuit of organized crime. But the guy I really have contempt for is Robert Kennedy. I mean, he went after the mob with a vengeance, you know, and in my mind, you know, 25 years ago, I could walk through the north end of Boston. I could walk through Federal Hill in Providence with a date at 3 in the morning. Nobody was going to bother you. You felt safe because the bad guys kept the law and order, all right? Now, they put all those guys in prison, all right? Every kid that can afford $200 has a Tech 9. You got 11-year-old kids getting shot in drive-by shootings because you didn't have anybody in control. I mean, you can say what you want,
Yeah.
and you know, as you mentioned, you know, the gambling, the bootlegging, the prostitution. In my mind, the organized crime has never done anything but give people what they want, whether it was gambling or, you know what I mean, or booze. And they seem to always confine their violence against other bad guys who you could make a case had it coming. Today, there's so much senseless violence. Young kids are getting killed. You know, you never saw that 30 years ago.
Well, your definition of organized crime, just because we're identified with suits and hats and that's what we do as far as back in the 20s, what's the difference between the businessman of guys like Robert Kennedy? And you talk about his father being a bootlegger. The difference is there is that they couldn't control guys like us, in a sense, as far as the organized crime guys. So that's one of the reasons why he came down on them hard. Second of all, you know, the Kennedys have their own little history, okay, hiding behind the mystery, so to speak. And today, as far as the mob guys, back in the day, there was a certain set of rules and respect. There's no respect anymore. And they didn't go out there and just kill people at random. They didn't do drive-by shootings.
Right.
Okay? They were organized crime. If you played the game, you paid the price. And it was run like a company, and that's why it was a multi-million-dollar business. Not to endorse it, but at the same time, I'm just giving you an overview of the different structures. What's worse than in the White House when as far as they keep adding on taxes or adding on as far as different programs that affect guys that are trying to make a living, you no sooner make it, they're taking it. So how do you differentiate what the definition of organized crime is?
Yeah.
Is it by the suit or is it by the action?
Yeah.
It's just, you know, it's like anything else. You know, some say tomato, some say tomato. It just depends how you put it on the plate.
Right now the big news is the Whitey Bulger trial that's going on.
Yeah.
And I was reading in the paper the other day, Robert Duvall, who's been in Massachusetts working on that movie, The
been at the
Judge.
courthouse.
Robert E. Downey and Vincent D'Onofrio. He was at the courthouse.
Yeah.
Sitting in
yeah.
the back watching
You wonder,
the Whitey
is he
trial.
researching the character for the movie?
You know?
Who knows?
You
I'm
know.
sure he is.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Have you popped in there, or are you still afraid to go near the court? You know, these
I got a
many
phobia
years-
for courthouses.
Yeah. You know,
well, you usually
don't-
take it in the back, aren't you?
Every time he goes to court, even if it's to pay a parking ticket, he brings a toothbrush. You know, it's not a force of habit.
Force
You
of
know?
habit. I worked with Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. on The Judge. I played the sheriff.
Yeah.
It was a flashback scene to the 80s. And so they had the old car, the 80 car and everything. And there was an accident scene where I don't know who died. Someone, maybe it was Robert Downey Jr.'s brother. I don't know what I could say, what I can't say. But anyway, I played the sheriff, and I had to keep the crowd under crowd control. You know, and it was I had a blast in that. That was only a couple of weeks ago. But
Yeah, there are a couple of movies being filmed in Mass right now. There's that one, The Judge, and then Denzel Washington is filming The Equalizer.
Yeah,
with the tax credits, for the film tax credits, I'm telling you, and there's a guy building a $300 million studio up in Air at the old Devers Air Base.
Chris Byers, yeah.
Yeah, Chris Byers, is that his name? And between that and the film tax credits, you know, many people that know have said that, you know, right now Boston is is competing right up there with LA and New York. And especially once they have the production facilities, here, we're hitting it at the right time.
Timing
It's just
is
too bad it
everything.
wasn't 20 years ago.
Well, you're absolutely right. You talk about that. When I got involved in this business, to do what I've been able to accomplish in this business wasn't possible 20 years ago.
Right.
I live in Rhode Island, and unfortunately,
I know.
we had the tax credit there, and I'll tell you a quick story, how you talk about a heartbreaking story. I happen to work ABC, Body of Proof with Dana Delaney, Nick Carroll. Put your hat on here. Don Fanucci. So as far as, I end up doing 8 episodes in that show, and I speak on the show. And I play a cop, Officer Watkins, and I had a chance for a reoccurring role. The next thing you know, the governor comes out and he threatens to take the tax credit away. Now, word gets back to ABC. They built a beautiful $30 million studio, interior sound studio up at the old Somerville Lumber in Warwick, Rhode Island. I was just sitting there. They converted it into a useful piece of property on the tax roll. Governor threatens they're taking the tax credit away. They said, really? They left, packed up their bags, moved back to LA, got paid to go back, and guys like me that had a role for a chance for reoccurring are now left without work. So that's why I have to commend Massachusetts, because they realize the potential that's here. And you're absolutely right as far as the movie business is coming this way. Because as far as they realize the tax credits are good, the landscaping, the architecture is beautiful, and the state welcomes them. And that's a great opportunity for you guys out there that may have never thought about being an actor or getting involved in acting. This gives you a great platform to step up into it, because never in a million years did I ever think that I have a chance to work with guys like Mark Wahlberg or Christian Bale or Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck and Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz and Michael Madsen, and the list goes on and on and on.
You worked with Cameron Diaz?
Cameron Diaz, as far as, it was unbelievable.
How close were you?
Close, as close as me and you, baby. She's prettier, believe it or not, on film than she is in person.
Oh my gosh.
I think so. As far as, we had a nice conversation because we have mutual friends out in California. But my whole concept of this business is that when I got involved in it, I never thought of myself as a Brad Pitt or a Tom Cruise or a George Clooney.
So you were realistic.
Listen, you got to come in with a realistic approach. It's like, acting is a team game, okay? And what I mean by that, it's not an I game. It's not all ego, because when you're acting, you're working with other people, and you got to know where you fit. And at the same time, to realize my dreams, I had to be realistic about my dreams. And that's where, as far as I knew at that point, that I could be a good supporting guy versus a leading guy.
Right.
But that doesn't mean I can't test my talents. And fortunately enough, I just landed one of my first lead roles. To say that I'll be all the time, not necessarily true, but I know where I fit as a good supporting guy.
It's a process.
And it's a great thing, because guess what? It's attainable. Okay?
And I lobbied all of my local legislators to support that film tax credit. And, I was in talking with a couple of them. They said, gee, Charlie, the one resistance that I get when I talk to my constituents is, gee, we're giving a tax credit and yet they're paying the star $10 million or $20 million. And I had to say to them, look, that star is going to get their 10 or 20 million, whether they film in Minnesota, LA, New York, Boston, wherever. You're not going to change that. But what you're going to do is you're going to create work for thousands. And I think it was what they got in the amount of a tax credit. It's been almost a 5 times return in like jobs, people being hired locally as actors, production people, spending on local carpenters, and just a massive stimulus into the economy, hundreds of millions of dollars as a result.
You could be as Kurt Schilling, which was not an actor, was a baseball player. He grabbed $75 million out of Rhode Island for that video game thing, and in actuality, you know what the state got back? Nothing.
Yeah.
So where was your effort best put? Where, as far as we had films going, we had as far as television shows, TV pilots being filmed in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Now, okay, as far as you take that away, now you have nothing going on.
What do they have now? What's the cap? Do they have a cap?
I think it's 18 million. Not 18 million. I'd be lying to you because they just changed it again. And they were actually threatening, it was on the table to just pull it totally away.
Wow.
So, you know, unfortunately, Steve Feinberg had the right intentions by trying to bring films, and he was bringing films there. We had the waterfront, we had Body of Proof, we had, as far as Brotherhood, we had a variety of different shows. Awaken Providence, I think it was another film. We had Underdog, Meet Joe Black. We were on a roll there. And all of a sudden, as far as they decide to take the tax credit away because they say they're not sure it's working. Well, guess what? It is working. And at the same time, it was putting people to work, like you said, but they were upset because the vendors that need to, like a food vendor, when you're on set, you need to be fed. How can you ask a guy to invest $150,000 in a food cart that you can't promise him there's going to be another film after the one he's doing? So what do you expect them to do with that after it's said and done? So there's no level of confidence to invest into that department.
No, in any business, you need to have a stable playing field so you know what the rules are going to be a year or two out. You know, otherwise you can't make plans. If somebody's going to change the rules midstream,
Uncertainty is a killer in business, you know.
For any
You have to
business,
know, you
for
have
any
to
business, you know.
have your goals set and know you're going to get there and how you're going to get there. The uncertainty, people don't want to spend, you know.
You know, now, didn't you tell me you took a drive up by the new studio just to?
Yeah,
wave
yeah.
as you
A
drove
friend of
by?
mine who knows Chris Byers, he's a friend of
Yeah,
his. He
yeah.
called me up. He says, "You want to take a ride up?" I said, "Yeah." I had a chance to meet, you know, Chris. We went up there, and he wasn't there, but he called him, and there's he had an office in Tewksbury. We went down and saw him there, but you know, I didn't get to see the building because he wasn't there, so we couldn't get in. There was a gate there, and the building was set up back. But
It's
to me,
huge, though.
it's pretty big. Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it's, you know, about 70% complete, maybe. If I were to guess, you know, somewhere like that.
I'm sure you weren't getting paroled from Fort Devens, which is right next door.
No, it was right near Shirley, so I knew the area.
Yeah, there's a correctional facility in Shirley.
Well, no, back it used to be a reform school.
Oh,
That's where I reformed, you know.
really, huh? Is that what changed you?
Yeah, that's what changed.
Yeah.
And
Lightning hit him. Lightning.
it wasn't the
They
hat.
changed it. Now actually it's a prison, you know.
Okay.
When I was a kid, it was all cottages, you know.
Yeah.
You went there when
Well, you know, it's hard to believe. I wish we could keep on talking, but you know, we've run through a half hour already. Just flew. There's one thing I want to say. Now, here at Taunton Community Access and Media, they have a lot of facilities that are dedicated to helping people in the community. If you're interested in film, TV, whether you want to work behind the camera or in front of it, you know, you should give them a call. Their number is 508-824-2207. And they're offering classes all the time. They're free. They're wonderful people. You should check it out. And I'd like to thank you so much for tuning in today to Let's Talk Real Estate. Stay safe.